Robert N. Macomber, and I'm an author and a lecturer, and I end up traveling the world, but I love coming home to Lee County, where I grew up. And I live at Twin Palm Cottage on Matlacha Island, a little fishing village, an old Florida village on our coast. And I've been a writer now for a number of years. I do magazine work. I do lectures all over the world. I have an award-winning series of historical novels, and I do some consulting work for the Department of Defense. But it all keeps me very, very busy, and I love what I do. I'm very blessed to be able to say I actually love what I do. I'm a huge fan of libraries. Growing up as a reader, as a book lover, and then becoming a professional writer, you would expect me to be a fan of libraries. But it's a little more in-depth than that, because you see, I've traveled the world on lecture tours and on research trips, and I know for a fact that libraries, free public libraries, are a crucial part of the foundation of any developed democracy. In many places I go to, there are now free public libraries. You have to become a member of an organization, and you have to pay to get books. And in many countries I go to, where they are totalitarian regimes, even then, the information that you can get is limited. We are very blessed in this country. We have more public libraries than any other country I've been in. And every citizen, from the richest to the poorest, has access to them for free information. I consider that to be crucial for an informed electorate. But there's a couple other things that our libraries do. They also provide a safe haven, frequently the only safe haven, for our youth. A haven from the negative influences, some of the entertainment media, or the influences of the street. They also are a place where the elderly can go and get information and interact with the government. Many of our libraries right now are the places where the elderly can go and get government forms through the internet and to do their government interaction. And they're also a place that provide an avenue for the American dream. You can go to a library and better yourself. And that translates further down in your life to becoming anybody you want to in this country. So I'm a huge believer in libraries, and I'm very proud of the libraries in our country, and particularly in Florida. I do a lot of events for libraries around Florida, and I am really enthusiastic about the libraries of Lee County because I use them all the time. I have a lot of readers that use them all the time. And I have part of my research team for my academic research are the librarians of Lee County. And I call them my biblio sleuths. And they actually find hard to locate books and manuscripts and monographs that nobody else has been able to find for me. But the Lee County librarians have been able to do that. And Randy Briggs and Lillian Bradley at the Pine Island Library, along with their colleagues at the Central Library in downtown Fort Myers, have done a magnificent job. So I am personally indebted to the librarians. So as you can probably tell, I'm a huge believer in libraries. And now, more than ever, in these economic times, when library usage is going up by the citizenry who can't afford the other venues for information, now is the time when everybody needs to support libraries. Well, I do two kinds of research. It takes me about 4 years to do a book, and I have a book coming out every year. So at any one time, I'm working on 4 or 5 books in different phases. But the research is divided between academic research and what I call eyeball recon, which is where I go to the locales and I experience the people and the places and the cultures that I write about. Now, the academic research gives me the facts of history, and the eyeball research gives me the flavor of history. And when I combine the two of them, I try to make a vivid story about real places and real people and real events that shaped our world as we have it now. Well, my advice is very simple. Read, read, read. You cannot be a writer, a professional writer, or even an aspiring writer, and not be well read. For every novel that I write, I read between 35 and 40 books. I read books for factual history, for the flavor of history. I read books that give me historical context in everything from dialogue to cultural outlooks. You have to read. You have to become a bibliophile, a lover of books, in order to be one who writes them successfully. There are two kinds of writers: those that want to be a professional and those that don't want to go ahead into the industry of writing and publishing. Some of the best writers I've ever met have been the latter, the ones that don't want to get involved in the nitty-gritty of the business. But both of them share a love of conveying a story. It can be nonfiction, it can be fiction, it can be poetry, it can be memoirs, it can be a straight history, it can be anything you want. But you have to love what you're doing, and you have to love the journey. Because I guarantee you, as an aspiring writer, once you start, the journey will take you to places you never dreamed of. It's going to be fun.